Makers, what's up you HCMC army? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to talk about ticker symbol HCMC, Healthier Choices Management Corp, OTC traded, one of our favorite stock. There were two things happening this week that got a ton of traction on HCMC. The first one is the FDA approval, that FDA permits the e-cigarette, and people started talking a ton about HCMC and their correlation. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing is Philip Morris renewed the 2.5 billion 5-year business transformation credit line. So I also want to talk about, because there is a ton of speculation that Philip Morris has been doing this just to settle down this lawsuit with HCMC. I have been covering HCMC for a long time. Both of the above got a ton of attention. I have been reading a ton of articles in social media, on Twitter, on Reddit, and I want to clarify how both of this impacts HCMC, or whether it impacts or not. Now, the good news is they're both positive news. There's nothing negative for HCMC in both of the news that I just shared with you. Well, but the not so good news is it has no real correlation between the HCMC's lawsuit and or the future of HCMC as a company and the product that HCMC is selling. So I'll be sharing this directly, how it is correlated with HCMC, if not how it is correlated with Philip Morris, because both of the news correlate really in straight line with Philip Morris, and I want to share this with you. I've been doing a ton of research and analysis on this, and I don't get me wrong, I love HCMC as much as you do, but it's my job, I believe, to share the research and analysis that I have done on HCMC. By the way, there is nothing wrong about it. If you want to think about HCMC, the biggest catalyst is the lawsuit. What's going to happen? Yes, a catalyst could be the motion to dismiss approval or rejection from the judge that we are waiting for. That could be definitely one of the big catalysts. The patent IPR review is also one of a bigger catalyst as well. So those are the catalysts that you should think about HCMC. Now, without further delay, let me talk about first about the credit line that Philip Morris has renewed, and the second, let me talk about this e-cigarette FDA approval, and also what is the difference in Q-cup or the vaporizer versus the e-cigarette. Okay, so I'm going to talk about all this. Stay tuned, watch the full video, do your part, and click on the like button. If you can click on the like button, that's going to be super helpful. That will help the channel. That will help a ton of more people. If you click on the like button and subscribe to my channel, that will be a great help, and it doesn't really cost you anything. So let's jump into what's going on with HCMC and Philip Morris rather. So Philip Morris International closes new US dollars 2.5 billion 5-year business transformation link credit facility. Now, this is for the business purposes, and then there is nothing new. But let's talk about this. The company entered into an agreement on financing instrument following the issuance of August 2021 business transformation linked financial framework, which is now the revolving credit facility, provides borrowing Philip Morris up to an aggregated principal amount of $2.5 billion, and it expires on September 29, 2026, unless extended as per the terms of the credit agreement. Now, a lot of people are linking this directly to the lawsuit settlement that Philip Morris could do with HCMC, but let me tell you, this has no correlation. This is not really correlated to any kind of settlement that Philip Morris may want to do with HCMC. I'll tell you why. Because this credit line was there existing in the past as well. This facility, meaning this $2.5 billion facility, replaces PMI, Philip Morris International's existing $3.5 billion revolving credit facility, which was set to expire on October 1st, 2022. So this termination was effective as of September 29, 2021. So what I'm trying to say is they used to have $3.5 billion revolving credit line. Now they changed it and renewed, by the way, to $2.5 billion. So this is on the contrary, they are getting less credit line, less renewal of the credit line, which is not good or bad thing for HCMC. This is totally separate. This is the business decision. Big corporations, many times, most of the times, they do have facility for the credit line, so they can use the funding as and when they need the most, and they don't have to look for money. They don't have to do the stock dilution. They don't have to do the rights offering and get the money from their investor. If you remember what Hcmc did is, in the best interest of their shareholders, they did have the rights offering and they raised $27 million at 0.0010. What big corporations do, because they have these facilities, is they have the credit line and they secure this credit line and they use the money and funds whenever they need the most, so they don't really have to go look out for money at the last moment. So all I'm trying to say is this has nothing to do with the lawsuit settlement with Hcmc or anything along those lines. The second big news is FDA authorizes the e-cigarette for the first time, saying that the benefit for smokers that outweighs the risk to youth. Now what this means, let's take a look a little bit more. The Food and Drug Administration, that is FDA, authorized a set of e-cigarette products for sale in the United States for the first time on Tuesday, after it concluded that the benefit to adult cigarette smokers outweighed the risk posed to the young people. Now, the authorization of an e-cigarette device and two accompanying nicotine cartridge products. So remember this thing, which is important, nicotine cartridge product, which are sold under the brand name of R.J. Reynolds Tobacco, is a shift in the ongoing debate over the e-cigarette, fueled by the criticism for the tobacco companies that addicting other generation to nicotine under this devices and under this process of helping adult smokers to quit. Now what this also means is they authorized only tobacco flavored nicotine cartridge and denied requests from the R.J. Reynolds for 10 flavored product as well. So what FDA is trying to do is they're trying to find a healthier choice for this type of cigarette. So e-cigarette is still not super healthy, but it's less riskier than the traditional way of cigarette, and that's what the FDA is focusing on at the moment. Now it also, let's read this a little bit because I think this is really important. The FDA's assessment found that the e-cigarette are significantly less toxic. So remember two things. One is the toxic, then the combusted cigarettes. Now we are talking about the combustion a lot when it comes to Hcmc, but that combustion and this combustion is different. The combustion for Hcmc, we're talking about vaporizers, and this is the cigarette combustion. And what Hcmc is suing Philip Morris for is the combustion process that is protected by the IP that Hcmc own. Now let's go ahead and read this. But in a statement about authorization, it emphasized that Tuesday's action does not really mean the products are safe or FDA approved. All tobacco products are harmful, addictive, and those who do not use tobacco products should not start. So basically what they're trying to say is this is a better option. It's still riskier, but then it's a better option than the traditional way of cigarette. What this also meant on Tuesday, so October 13th, October 14th, and October 15th, Philip Morris Altria stocks gain as FDA approves this e-cigarette. Now this is pretty important because this e-cigarette approval directly correlates with Philip Morris and Altria, as we just mentioned, and also the R.J. Reynolds, and that's why their stocks gained. So this is directly impacting Philip Morris. This is not good or bad for Hcmc. However, there is a ton of possibility for Hcmc to come up with even better alternative, and that's the whole thing Hcmc has been suggesting. Hcmc is healthier choices, and they are trying to find out and innovate the solution for the healthier choices when it comes to vaporizer, and that's what their business is. This is FDA issued marketing granted orders for R.J. Reynolds for its device and 3 accompanied tobacco flavor for e-liquid pods. Now this e-liquid pods are little different than what Hcmc is doing. This is directly correlated to Philip Morris, Altria, R.J. Reynolds. It has nothing to really do with Hcmc. But let's talk about what Hcmc does. This is what Hcmc does. Hcmc has a product called Q-Cup, as you already know. It is vape of the quartz, not of the metal. So that's the catch. I mean, that's not the catch, but this is exactly what you should focus on. Q-Cup is a patented quartz delivery system for your concentrates. Now that we talked about in the previous article with the FDA approval, it's e-liquid. So we're not talking about e-liquid when it comes to this Q-Cup. The Q-Cup is concentrates, and it is basically paired with Q unit premium vaporizer. So vaporizer is the keyword that you want to realize here. It's a premium vaporizer and not an e-cigarette. It is the perfect dab rig on the go, engineered to optimize your Q-cup vaping experience by maximizing your number of dab hits. So this is vaporizer versus the e-cigarette. Now let's talk a little bit about what is the difference between vapes and e-cigarette. This is still within the realm of what Hcmc does. If Hcmc can come up with a better solution in terms of the vaporizer that can be less harmful to its users, I believe that Hcmc can follow up to what they're meant to do, which is healthier choices. Now let's talk about what is the difference. So what is the difference between vapes and e-cigarettes, right? So both vapes and e-cigarettes are used for vaping. Now vaping is an increasingly popular alternative that what Hcmc is doing to smoking conventional cigarettes, because we all know that traditional cigarettes are a little bit risky, a lot riskier for the adults to consume on a daily basis. Although e-cigarettes and vapes functional in a very similar way, there the key differences is the aesthetic. This is one of the main difference between the e-cigarette and vape is the appearance. While e-cigarette is mimicking cigarette, vapes, vaporizers tend to look more like a fountain pens. They're often slightly larger and more robust than the e-cigarette. You already know what is the e-cigarette device looks like. E-cigarettes are often popular option for those like to feel holding a cigarette with their hands, and that's why it's being used. The second thing is the battery life. Vapes are often considered more advanced version of e-cigarettes. So you want to remember that. Flavor is vapes, often you put a huge range of flavor juices inside it. So vape has its own advantage versus e-cigarette is it's probably the best option if you want the variety, because e-cigarette will not have that variety. And the last thing is the nicotine delivery. Now this is one of the important things that you want to note, because one of the most challenging aspect of giving up cutting down on smoking is getting used to life without the nicotine. Now this is what vaporizer can help you, because you can customize nicotine inside your vaporizer. So that's the key difference between e-cigarette and and the vaporization process that Q-Cup offers. So vaporization, so Hcmc, as the name suggests, Healthier Choices Management Corp. Healthier Choices offers you better and healthier choices in terms of Q-Cup, and you can customize the level of whatever the elements that you have inside your vapor. And that's the whole idea. Now if you take a look at the Hcmc stock, you see that there is no bigger difference in terms of the volume. If you take a look at the volume, 800 400 million, 800 400 million, it's kind of bouncing back between 5 and 7 levels, 0.0005 and 0.0007. Now if you're lucky to get that trade as a buy trade at 0.0005 and sell it at the 7 level, it's still a massive 40% swing trade. But what I've been hearing is people are unable to buy at 0.0005, because guess what? At 5 level, there is a ton of buying happening, and many people are swing traders in Hcmc, because for many days, take a look right here, for a long time. Let's take a look at July 27th. So it went to 7, it went to 6. So starting July 27th, it has been between 5 and 7, 6 and 7, 5 and 7, and 6 and 7. There's a ton of opportunity. If the trades are executed, you can make 40% just in one day. So that's what has been happening. If you take a look at what's happening in terms of the short volume, we are not seeing any high short volume. The short volume ratio on the 14th of October was 33.71. So we're talking about 1.1 billion shares traded with the volume, with the short volume of 376 million. That puts that to 33.71. Before that, 43, 31, 36, 43. All in all, we're not seeing a huge short volume that we used to see. If you take a look at the chart, it's definitely a the bar chart that we have been seeing. One important thing that you want to note here is there is not really an RSI difference. The RSI is pretty stable, as you can see, between 50 and 60. In my opinion, it's not a overbought or oversold condition. RSI is looking pretty healthy. Once again, you want to remember that it is between 5 and 7, which is the normal level. Most of the trades, as you can see, are happening at 6 and not at 5, which is once again a great sign. The stock was up 9% today from 5 to 6. That puts it to a very good position based on what we have been seeing. So practically what I'm trying to say is, as long as it is 6, it's a natural consolidated price point for HCMC. We are not seeing higher volume. We are not seeing higher short volume. We are waiting to hear back on the motion to dismiss by Phillip Morris, the final verdict from the judge, whether the case will go on to the discovery phase or the next trial phase. And we are also waiting to hear back from the inter partes review petition that Phillip Morris has filed to challenge the patent that HCMC has. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, click on the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'll keep making sure, that motivates me if you click on the like button, and I'll keep making sure that I share meaningful information to you, what you need to know the most in order to make the best financial decision within your investment journey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.